either not work or cause the application to hang or something of that variety. But even Windows Explorer can't work with it. If you try to delete it using Windows Explorer, if you try to kill it the console, nothing happens. So you'll probably end up crying and pretending that one of your applications or the operating system itself put it there, and you just probably shouldn't touch it and leave it alone. So imagine using that in conjunction with rootkits, and it gets a lot scarier. And now comes the fun part, a demonstration with Nginx and PHP on a Windows system. The quality on this looks a little bit crappy, and I apologize about that. But in our setup here, we have Nginx version 0.7.63, PHP 5.3.0, running in fast CGI mode on port 9000. And in the php.ini file, we have both allow URL fopen and allow URL include turned off. So we should not be able to remotely include any files. Should not be able to. And we have ourselves a little PHP backdoor, just something very simple that just runs the system command with a get variable. And we have that sitting on a file share named backdoor. So keep that in mind. And with that said, let's actually dive into the cool stuff. So set up a little web application here. So I've got a file upload script and an include script, but we want to make sure we've got a exploitable situation here. So we verified it's an old version of Nginx by producing an error, and we go to this include file script, and it says, haha, you can't see the source code, and doesn't do anything. And truly, we can't see the source code. But let's check and see that this is a Windows system by requesting the 8.3 alias instead. And it works, so we know we're on a Windows system. So knowing that we're running an old version of Nginx and that we're on Windows allows us to tack a space on, and all of a sudden it's not a .php, it's a .php space. So yes, we can see the source code now. And we're just including a file from a get variable called include file. So that's fun. So normally what we would do in this situation is to try to include some sort of PHP script from a website that we control, like maybe on attacker.com or whatever. And in this scenario, we get a warning, and PHP says, no, I don't want to let you do that. So we decide, well, let's try it a different way. Let's give it a UNC path. Now, if you look in the PHP documentation, it says that these UNC paths are part of the local file system. No, no. So we have remote command execution now, even though we are including a file remotely, and even though the security options are set to disable this sort of thing. Oops. So let's try something else. We've got remote code execution, but let's be thorough here. So we've got a file upload script. Let's upload a PHP script and see if it works. It doesn't work. So we're disallowed. We can't upload anything with a .php extension. Bummer. Let's look at the source and see if we can get around this anyway. So looks like we're blacklisting. Anything with an extension of PHP, it just dies and says we're not very nice people, which maybe we're not. Who knows? But we can see our upload directory right about here. So somebody named this expecting that nobody would ever find it. Super secret directory. So not so secret anymore. So we'll take a look at it. Dang, it's forbidden. Wait, wait, wait. Whoopla! So now with our 8.3 alias, we've broken string-based comparison again, and we can see that this guy has accidentally the whole thing. So now that we know where the files are going to be, let's try something a little different. Let's try uploading a phpwned file. So we upload it. Yeah, it's fine. So let's check to make sure that it really has been uploaded. Sure enough, it has. And trying to access it normally doesn't work, but what's the first 3 letters of phpwned? Yeah? So now it's a PHP file. And guess what we've got? Remote command execution. So there we go. How am I doing on time? 2 minutes? Okay. I think we got time for questions. Okay, so we got some questions. Anybody? Huh? IIS actually, funny enough, won't take 8.3 aliases. Apache will, but it handles them properly, but IIS just won't. Anybody else?
What about systems other than XP?
Well, this, I mean,
What about systems other than XP?
yeah, what about systems other than XP? Every version of Windows is susceptible to all of these problems. So, except the buffer overflow and the type command, I don't know about that. That works on XP. I haven't tried it on anything else.
It's not really a Windows problem, it's a PHP problem, right?
No, it is a Windows problem. Well, it's yeah, it's just an undocumented feature. Speaking of which, search the MSDN documentation for the keywords should avoid sometime. It's great. That seriously, like that, 2 of the things in here are like should avoid. But anyway, yeah. So I'm sorry. What was your question again? I've got a little bit.
It's SMB, it's not.
Yeah. The problem is that applications do string-based comparison and don't actually check the file system. So if they're not expecting these mangled versions of the file names, they're not going to handle them properly. Any other questions?
Yeah, we're out of time, actually. So
Out of time? Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming. And as I said before, if you can find another way to use these techniques, come see me at the Core Security booth, win some beer.